Well, I also caught up with Manish Gupta, the senior director at Google DeepMind, who said how new use cases were emerging out of India, like that of a retired employee who scans all documents to help him file his income tax returns, or another person who used Gemini to learn how to master the functions of his new DSLR. So the big question is, what's the future of AI models that one can look forward to, and how will Google and other tech companies look at mitigating bias even as models become more intelligent? Let's take a look at this conversation as well that I had with Manish earlier in the day.
Yeah, so one of the things which is fascinating about us in India is that we tend to be much more, I would say, visual in nature.
Okay.
And also we prefer conversing in voice. Even with conventional Google search, we have seen a much higher percentage of queries in voice. And likewise, we have seen much larger, in fact, volume of searches happening on YouTube compared to even Google search in India. So people in India tend to be very visual. They tend to be to prefer voice. So that really pushes this whole multimodal dimension much more, where in fact we have at Gemini, right? We have really made these Gemini models truly multimodal. Natively, where they understand not just text, they understand images, they understand speech, they understand videos, and are also able to now bring those capabilities, right, to the interactions.
Yes.
That not just voice-based interactions, but also kind of video-based interactions where the AI model is aware of the overall context, right?
Yes.
And is able to look at whatever things from the camera and respond to those questions.
Right. So Manish, when you talk about all of these use cases, it'll be interesting to also know when you're working with your partners, other companies and clients that you're working with, what is the pattern of usage? Which of your products and services are finding most traction, and which are the sectors that are using AI or deploying AI at massive scale?
Yeah, so I think it's varies a lot. One of the areas where we are seeing already a lot of adoption is this generative capabilities.
Yes.
So as you know, Google has a very successful ads business.
Yes.
And a lot of our customers who use ads, they've traditionally had to employ like creative agencies which could only generate, whatever ads, very high quality ads, right, for a few of their products. So I've already seen examples where we see many of these now ads getting created by these agencies using these AI models and kind of cutting down the time, right, the effort from maybe weeks to a few hours.
Yes.
And amazing quality.
Yes.
So now they're thinking about, instead of creating these ads for a few products, can I do it for thousands or down the road even millions of products?
Right.
So taking things to a far higher level.
So when you talk about all of these interesting case studies and of course how your partners are using your AI models, what is Google's vision of how it sees its traction in the India market with respect to AI? How do you see yourself being placed in the India market over the next couple of years with respect to AI for sure?
So India again has been not only, we have that special attraction being based in India, but even to Google globally, India represents a very, very large market. So we've already seen, again, things like the diversity of languages that people speak in India as a key driver to make sure that, yes, we are pushing the envelope in terms of multilingual capabilities of our models. My own team's work, in fact, as we went deeper, we recognized that it wasn't sufficient for these models to understand different languages. They also need to understand different cultures. We have such rich cultural heritage. So when you're responding to a user from Assam versus Kerala, how can you respond, right, in the cultural context of that person? And I mentioned we tend to be much more visual, prefer these audio modality and so on, which has pushed us. And then, of course, with the scale of India, when we look at our aspiration eventually to serve over 1 billion Indians, really you need to make these models far more efficient.
Right. So you have video capabilities, there are audio capabilities, and of course there is search capability as well. And with the kind of use cases that you presented today, both in terms of how your clients view Google's AI capabilities and with respect to users as well, what does it really say about the way AI is going to be developed by Google over the next couple of years? What can we expect and anticipate from some of your products and services that you'll be rolling out?
Yeah, so I think one of the things you can clearly expect from Google is that we will continue pushing the envelope in terms of building extremely powerful AI models, which is this Gemini model series that we have been developing, where we are building these extremely advanced capabilities, not only in terms of being able to, in some sense, distill all of the information from rich sources across the world, understand different languages, understand different modalities, but also now doubling down, right, on thinking, reasoning, and planning kind of capabilities. So what we want to do is, regardless of what kind of task you want to do as a human, whether it's knowledge seeking or problem solving or creative writing or so in all of these, we want, again, these AI model to be like a amazing assistant to you, which can help you take your capabilities to a much higher level.
So are you saying that there will not be any job losses, or the impact of job losses will be very minuscule? Because you're suggesting that these will only be assistants. But we have seen across industries here, whether in India or globally as well, seen some of the startups as well lay off people because of the fact that they say that there are AI-led efficiencies being brought in.
See, every technology brings its disruption. We see AI ultimately, at least I strongly prefer to see AI not in terms of competing with humans, but really augmenting human capabilities. And this report very vividly brings out so many examples. Even if I give the example of the Wizard of Oz reimagining the movie, I don't know if you're aware of the recent work that was done. It was again all about augmenting kind of the creativity, right, of these humans who have created that magic and taking it to a far higher level. You think about the recent Nobel Prize, right, that our colleagues won for the AlphaFold. What it is doing is a problem of uncovering the structure of a protein, which used to take several years. It can now be done in a few seconds. So think about the amazing kind of boost you have given to those scientists, and now drug discovery. And I've seen, like, in fact, about a week ago, I was at Indian Institute of Science, and one of the startups, which was talking about their fascinating work on discovering new molecules for drugs and so on. This is a company with 9 people, and they've already signed their first deal with a pharmaceutical about licensing their technology they have developed with the use of AI.
Right. So, Manish, amazing possibilities lie ahead. It'll be interesting to see how Google makes the most of those possibilities when it comes to serving people, exactly what DPI in India has done, right? But let me also ask you about mitigating bias, because, you know, that's been one of the key issues with respect to AI models in India. I mean, we have seen, one AI model which is essentially integrated with a social media platform, and there's been some concern over that. How is Google ensuring that bias is of all sorts is mitigated? Because not only will it lead to misinformation, but there can be other, very many jeopardizing ways that it harms society.
Yeah, no, that's a very important question. So, in fact, I would say our team Google has formulated this responsible AI principles. And at every stage, right from data set selection to creating these AI models to moving them into products, we have all of these audits, reviews that happen to make sure that we are abiding by these principles. On bias, in fact, our teams, my own teams, were amongst the first in the world to start to study these biases from a non-Western lens.
Perspective.
We started to uncover biases that exist in these large language models based on caste, based on religion. and how do we ultimately, we created benchmarks like
so
this.
Is that an ongoing process?
Yes. So we created a benchmark, we made it available to the community called Cube, Cultural Benchmark, which is helping you uncover various biases in these language models based on various attributes, like it could be nationality, it could be other attributes. So we're continuing to, and we in fact supported the Center for Responsible AI at IIT Madras, which has also been, again, with the help of both funding from us, with collaborations with us and so on, which has been understanding issues of bias, for instance, in legal context. How do you make sure, because when we are making judgments and impacting human lives, it becomes even more important,
Absolutely.
right?
So Manish, we're also speaking even as there are global conversations that are happening around AI, around regulation. In fact, we've also heard from one of your spokespersons globally as well. I want to get your view on whether we are moving fast ahead when it comes to regulating AI. See, India's approach towards AI is that we have to balance innovation with regulation. But do you feel, as somebody who's been in the field of AI research for quite some time, that regulation perhaps needs to move faster on AI?
I see India's approach, in fact, as very, very pragmatic and making a lot of sense. We do believe that AI is such an important technology. It is too important not to be regulated, and it is also too important not to be regulated well. So certainly in like haste of moving fast, we wouldn't want there to be bad regulation, which kind of comes in the way of the innovation and so many positive, in some sense, potential, right, that we see of AI. So I'm very much supportive of the government's basic approach as a very
And you feel that we should not be very aggressive on regulation. Is that what you're saying?
We have to be extremely comprehensive in how we look at it. But yes, we should be careful and proceed in a manner that really ultimately doesn't come in the way of the positive benefits, right, that AI has to offer to all of humanity, while of course we have to protect